වාණිජ, විද්‍යා, ගණිත, කලා, තාක්ෂණ වේදය, විෂය ධාරාවන් වල සියලුම විෂයන් සඳහා විශ්වවිද්‍යාල කතිකාචාර්යවරුන් සහ රජයේ පාසල්වල ප්‍රවීණ ආචාර්ය මණ්ඩලය විසින් මෙහෙයවනු ලබන දේශන නැනපවුර YouTube channel ඔස්සේ නැරඹිය හැක. ඉදිරි දේශන දැනගැනීම සඳහා නැනපවුර YouTube channel subscribe කරන්න. දැයි දූ දරුවන්ගේ අනාගත ජයග්‍රහණයට.
සුවහසක් සිප්පන පෙවූ ඇදුරුකුරු පියමව්වරු හටනමා හිස තබා වඳිනෙමි ඔබයි මිහිපර දෙවිවරු මැණික් කළුගල් මිනිරණින් නොයෙක් විස්කම් කරනිමින් ලොවම පෙන්වා මඟ සදා දුන් ගුරුවරුන් නමදිමි වැදේ දිග සැප සිරි ලැබේවා වැඩි යසසින් පිරේවා සෑම දෙවියෝ රකිත්වා දිනේවා මතු දිනේවා. ඉතින් සෑම ගුරු මෑණියෙක්ටමත් පියවරෙක්ටමත් සුබම සුබ ආදරණීය ගුරු දිනයක් වේවා. ඉතින් දරුවනේ ඔයගලන්ට මේ වෙලාවේ ආදරෙන් මතක් කරන්න ඕනේ ලංකාව තුළ සාමාන්‍ය පෙළ සහ උසස් පෙළ සියලුම විෂය ධාරාවන් වල තියෙන විෂයන් සඳහා ඔන්ලයින් ලයිව් දේශන සිදු කරන එකම නාලිකාව නැනපවුර කියලා. ඉතින් අද අපිත් එක්ක එකතු වෙනවා අපේ ආදරණීය මානල් සොයිසා මැඩම් අපේ සාමාන්‍ය පෙළ දුවා දරුවන් වෙනුවෙන් ඉංග්‍රීසි ලිටරේචර් දේශනය සිදු කරන්න. ඉතින් ආදරෙන් කියන්න ඕනේ අද දවසේ සහභාගී වෙන්න බැරි වුණා නම් නැනපවුර YouTube channel එකේ නැරඹීමේ හැකියාව තියෙනවා. කලින් දේශන අපේ මානල් මැඩම් අපිත් එක්ක එකතු වෙලා කරපු කලින් දේශන අපේ නැනපවුර YouTube channel එකෙන් බලන්න පුළුවන්. මතක් කරලා subscribe කරන්න bell icon එකත් click කරලා තියාගන්න. එහෙනම් මේ ආරාධනය මානල් මැඩම්ට. අයබන් මැඩම්.
අයබන්. Good afternoon, Puta. Now we are going to start our literature lesson today. Okay. Today we are talking about O-level literature, nature poetry. First of all, let's see what are we going to do. First of all, we have to have an introduction to literature. Then we will discuss what is the nature. Then nature. The next point is nature poetry. Then we are going to start our poets and poetry. To the Nile by John Keats. Then we are going to speak about A Bird Came Down the Walk by Emily Dickinson. Then to the Evening Star by William Blake. Then we are going to speak to Alfred Lord Tennyson's poetry also. At the end, we can have a discussion also. Okay. First, we will see what is the literature. Literature is a collection of literary creation, such as poetry, drama, novels, and non-fiction. That means, normally we know short story. Here, you can see there are 4 kinds of literary works here. Now, we are going to talk about today about the nature poetry. What is the nature? Nature means the phenomena of the physical world collectively, including plants, animals, the landscapes, and other features too. Nature poetry. What kind of poetry are there in our literature? There are many kinds of poetry in our literature. They are called war poetry, then death poetry, nature poetry. There are some of the examples. Today we are going to talk about nature poetry. Due to the topics, due to the theme, we can analyze poetry as nature poetry, death poetry, like that. Today we are going to talk about this nature poetry. It is called the poetry that considers nature as subject matter and inspiration. What is the nature? Nature means the phenomena of the physical world collectively, including plants, animals, the landscapes, and other features. Okay, I reminded it again. Now let's go to the poetry. To the Nile by John Keats. When we talk about the poet, he's John Keats. He's very famous for paintings as well. He is considered as a romantic poet because he was in romantic era. Due to the literature, we are selecting them. Them means here the poets as romantic poets, Augustine poets, then medieval era poets. Due to the era, due to the literary era, we can consider, we can categorize them as this poet is this, that poet is belong to this, that category, like that. Okay, then we have to join with them in that way. Here, this John Keats is considered as a romantic poet. He was born on 31st October 1795. He died 23rd February in 1821. Let's jump to next poetry. A Bird Came Down the Walk by Dickinson. The poet is Emily Dickinson. He's a lady poet. He's from America. She's the only poet we can see here, and as an American poet. Then her date of birth was 10th of December 1830. She died 15th May 1886. Then we can see Alfred Lord Tennyson's, To the Evening Star by William Blake. Blake was born on 28th November 1757. He died 12th of August in 1827. His notable works are Songs of Innocence and Songs of Experience. Actually, it really considered about the literary era and experience of the literary figures due to the period, because more working class people there, then even the children happen to earn for their lives, then it is a really critical period. This literary William Blake's as a his literary movement is Romanticism. Then let's go to the Alfred Lord Tennyson. He wrote a poetry. It is called The Eagle. It is called as The Eagle by Alfred Lord Tennyson. He was born on 6th of August 1809. He died 6th of October 1892. Other poems, his other poems, Idylls of the King, In Memoriam A.H.H. Now we will go to the poetry, because we could have a good background to the poetry. First of all, let's turn to the nature poem by John Keats, To the Nile. If you have the poetry with you, please take it with your take it to your hand. Okay. To the Nile by John Keats. Son of the all-moon mountains, Africa. Chief of the pyramid and crocodile. We call thee fruitful, and that very while a desert fills our scenes inward span. Nurse of swart nations since the world began. Art thou so fruitful, O dust? Thou beguile such men to honor thee, who worn with toil, rest for a space twixt care and decay. Oh, may dark fancies err, they surely do. This ignorance that makes a barren waste of all beyond itself, though dust bedew. Green rushes like our rivers, and dust taste the pleasant sunrise. Green isles hast thou too, and to the sea as a happily dost haste. By John Keats. This is the poetry that you have to have an idea for your O-level examination. But when we learn literature, we should not learn it to the exam. we should learn literature for our day-to-day lives. See how this poetry started. Son of the old moon, mountains, Africa. That means you are the son of old moon, mountains, Africa. That means it is a metaphor as well. What kind of metaphor here? The African is the son of the old moon. That means Africa has been passivized now. Old moon. Old means it depicts the passiveness of the country. As a nature poem to the Nile makes us appreciate the beauty of the river and its value as a life-giving source. We also learn how the people in ancient times worshipped the river as a god or gift of the nature. Yes, river even in nowadays also in India, river Ganga and Yamuna, especially river Ganga, it is a sacred place. Even today as well, they are worshipping, and after worshipping to the river, they are going to have a bath there. We also learn how the people in ancient times worshipped the river as a god or gift of the nature. Yes, we also get some momentary pleasure by the looking at the greenery and the beauty of the river in the morning. When we talk about this as a nature poem to the Nile makes us appreciation beauty of the river and its values as a life-giving source. We also learn how the people in ancient times worshipped the same points are now I'm talking about you. Now we will turn to the analysis. Let's see how is the analysis here. The poet seems to have woken up from this daydreaming of the charms of Nile and starts to reflect on the natural beauty of the river. Here the sonnet to the Nile by Keats has been written in the patriarchal style. Yeah, because it start like son of the all moon mountains, African. This contains an octave rhyming AB. That's the first 8 lines when we talk about AB, BA, AB, BA, and as tet, that means next 6 lines rhyming CD, CD, CD. In this sonnet, line number 9 marks a change of thought. The poet seems to have woken up from his daydreaming of the charms of the Nile and starts to reflect on the natural beauty of the river. The poet, through sonnet, directly addresses the Nile in the style of his great Odysseus, such as Ode to Autumn or the Ode on a Grecian Earth. If we go through the history of the river Nile, it comes to know that this river is the cradle of the one of the oldest civilization in the world, which was brought about alongside the Nile River. You know about the river Nile. Now it is now talking about that. The Nile River can also be related to the mythology of Pe, who was considered to be its chief god and is revered for flooding, this way bringing fruitfulness and fertility. Being a lover of Greek mythology, kids may have heard of the good Nilus. It was the Greek god of the Nile River and the travel argues of the English explorers. Son of the Old Moon Mountains, Africa, the sonnet to the Nile by John Keats begins with the lines of the Old Moon Mountains, Africa. This line, the poet characterizes the Nile River as a son of the Old Moon Mountains. That is to say, the Nile has its origin from the Moon Mountains, quite like the river Mahavali has origin from the Sri Pada or the Peak Mountain. In this line, the poet uses the poetic technique of the inversion, wherein the word order is inverted or changed. Here you can see the inverted position of the adjective African. Grammatically, an adjective normally comes before the main noun. Here it is Moon Mountains. Besides, the poet also uses another technique of personification. That is, the river here is personified as the son of the Moon Mountains, which are like parents. Chief of pyramid and crocodile. This is the cotton. In the next line, the Nile is called as the chief of the pyramid and crocodile. The mention of the pyramid and crocodile relates to the ancient Egyptians who would build pyramids as tombs for their kings and queens. They built these tombs with huge blocks of stones and transported them through the Nile River in barks to the pyramid site. It might not have been possible otherwise to carry these stone blocks to the rugged desert land spread hundreds of miles. Thus, the poet rightly calls the Nile the chief of the pyramids. Now let's talk about the crocodiles. You might know that there is a world's largest species of crocodiles in River Nile, especially its banks, which around these huge crocodiles. These crocodiles are also considered to be the god Osiris legends. God Osiris legends. That means there's a god called Osiris. Osiris. Though it isn't clear if the poet has used hyperbole or exaggeration in this line, he certainly has used the technique of contrast. For example, the pyramids, which are non-living things, whereas the crocodiles are living things. We call the full and that very wild. In the third line of this sonnet, the poet calls the Nile fruitful as the river is said to sustain life in the Nile Valley, not just through food from fishing and agriculture, but also by giving them a kind of transport and also by working as a playground for water sports. The Nile itself is a symbol of fertility and prosperity. We will go to the third line. A desert fills the scenes in word span. The third line says same as the fourth line. The poet through this line refers to his imagination, which is filled with a desert. Imagination is at times called the third line, but the poet here refers it to scenes in word span. In fact, this line indicates that our imagination consists of a desert, whereas we are always stuck at the fruitfulness of the river. So, barrenness and fruitfulness are correlated. That means they are related with each other. That's why it is called as correlated. They are, in fact, considered to be another wonder of nature. To the next line, the poet means that the river Nile in time immemorial has been nourishing and providing food to the dark nations of Africans. Nurse of sword nations, the world began. Not only has the Nile River provided life to one country, but to a number of countries whereby it flows. Art thou so fruitful, or dost thou beguile such men to honor thee, who worn with toil rest for space twixt Cairo and Deccan. The next line of this sonnet begins with a rhetorical question, which is also followed by another rhetorical question. Here, the poet perhaps refers to the temples built for Osiris, which are stretched along the banks of the river. The poet here wonders if the river Nile, through her magical charm, can make people believe and regard it as a holy river, such as the Ganges river in India. The poet also says that the river has a rest between Cairo and Deccan, where in Cairo the river ends in Deccan begins. Kate, so far in the updative, has the rightly or respectfully tread the Nile. However, as the line number 9 begins with the set, we know a volta or a turn in the line of thought. The poet's outlook to the Nile River gets changed from one of reverence to the realistic one. Oh, may dark fancies they surely do. Through this line, the poet says that imagination or fancy can mislead us. Here we find Keats criticizing his own habit of daydreaming or negative capability. No, the poet now starts doubting his dark fancies or his romantic fancy which carried him to the exotic lands of ancient Egypt of pyramids, pharaohs, and the great Nile steeped in legends. The poet now becomes more down to earth and starts exploring the river from an aesthetic or artistic viewpoint. This ignorance that makes barren ways of all beyond itself. In the above line, the poet wonders at his own ignorance or the ignorance of the Europeans whose dark fancies about Africa mainly contained giant pyramids and long deserts. The poet, through the same line, even asks, art thou so fruitful? He says his obsessions with desert is as a result of the ignorance of Nile Valley's fertility. He believes that the landscape is so fertile that it was claimed to have given birth to the first human civilization. Thou dost bedew green rushes like our rivers, and dost taste the pleasant sunrise. Green isles hast thou too, and to the sea as happily haste. The poet in this line starts weaving the river in all its splendid beauty when it majestically journeys or flows from its home to the sea. Here he the Nile to our rivers, whose plants with long leaves or green rushes have been beautifully decked up with drops and of mist. This beautiful visual image appeals to our eyes. The river also tastes pleasant sunrise. This is a blend of gustery and visual images. The river also consists of green isles. The poet repeatedly used green to bring about an effect of lush greenery, which is quite contrary, contrary to the repeated term of desert in the octave. The sonnet suitably ends line, and to the sea as happy just haste. Though Keats wrote this poem very friendly sonnet, it is beautifully down with the elevated language that is not only rich in meaning but in style as well. That is the point we have to understand. See, the poets are talking in very different ideas. Then let's go to the bird came down the walk by Emily Dickinson. It's better you can read it with yourself as well. Then you can have an idea with you. Then you can have an idea to share with the others as well. And this poetry is different from the others because she only American poet we are talking about here. And she's a lady poet. The other, all the other before that, let's go to that poetry as well. Let's see. A bird came down the walk. A bird came down the walk. He did not know I saw. He bit an angel in house and ate the fellow. And then he drank a dew from a convenience grass and then hopped sidewise to the wall to let a beetle pass. He glanced with rapid eyes that hurried all abroad. They looked like frying beds, I thought. He straightened his velvet head. Like one in danger, cautious, offered him a crumb, and he unrolled his feathers and wrote him softer home. Then Oz divided the ocean, 2 silver for a seam. O butterflies, off banks of moon, leap flashless as they swim, by Emily Dickinson. Now let's see how this how to analyze this poetry. Okay. In a bird came down the walk. A speaker seemingly every encounter with a bird leads to thoughts about the frightening sight of nature as well as nature's beauty. Under the speaker's watchful eye, the bird is at once um, merciless predator an anxious and vulnerable animal, and a lovely spark of life. Like many of Emily Dickinson's poems, this one uses unique and unconventional syntax. It was published only after Dickinson's death, when her younger sister divorced a treasure trove of poetry hidden in her bedroom and first appeared in a posthumous collection of poems in 1891. The beauty and brutality of nature. It is one of the themes here. The speaker of a bird came down the walk, watches a bird with fascination, only to scare it off by offering it a. The speaker's imaginative meeting with the bird inspires wonder, but also seems to make both speaker and the bird a little nervous. Nature, in this speaker's view, seems to be a place of both beauty and peril, and the poem implies that human beings are as much a part of that beauty and peril as animals are. Speakers everyday encounter with a bird hopping down the front walk is marked by a curious sense of danger. The first thing the speaker sees the bird doing is biting a worm in half and eating the fellow raw. The personification of both the bird and the worm suggests the unease the speaker feels at this sight. If these creatures are at all human-like, they can also feel the human-like fear and suffering. At first, then, the speaker seems to feel some pity for the poor little worm who gets gobbled up so none violently by the bird. Nature seems to be a rather brutal place. To that end, the bird is not just a predator but also prey. The bird itself has eyes like frightened beads, suggesting its own anxiety about its place in this bird eat worm, cat eat bird world. And when the speaker moves to offer the creature a crumb like in danger, cautious, this line suggests the speaker to feel suddenly vulnerable to or aware of natural dangers. The speaker is also afraid of scarcing of the little animal, of course. In spite of this sense of unease, the speaker is clearly fascinated and charmed by the bird's beauty. The speaker carefully observes the bird's velvet head and its little motions as it goes about its business and takes pleasure in the cautious way it hops aside like a gentleman to let a beetle pass. When the bird flies away, the speaker imagines its flight through metaphors of boats and butterflies moving flashless through the elements. Here, far from being danger, the bird seems to be a serious, beautiful part of the natural world at one with the air. The speaker's enjoyment, the bird's elegance sits right next to the speaker's alarm as its predatory mercilessness, suggesting that nature maintains a delicate balance between the beautiful and the brutal. Enthralled by the bird's beauty, the speaker is also a little unnerved by its alien way of life. So different from a human beings, this curious balance of fear and wonder uniqueness the speaker and the bird in spite of their wariness of each other. Merely being alive means being a part of a lively but fearful natural world. Whereas the theme is active in the poem actually. Okay, let's see. A bird came down the walk. He did not. No, I saw. A bird came down the walk. Begins with an incident that seems both normal and strange. The speaker watches as a bird hops down a small walk away. This seems like a straightforward, unremarkable thing to witness, but the way the speaker describes it makes it seem like something more is going on here. For example, consider the way the speaker describes the bird's movements. It's a little strange to say that the bird came down the walk, which makes it sound like the bird is a neighbor coming over for a casual chat. This impression only intensifies when the speaker calls the bird he. Truly find this little animal. That is the word he. But if the bird is a neighborly visitor, strange that the speaker would spy on him in this way. The speaker seems torn between waving the bird as a friendly human-like acquaintance and odd, unfair, unfamiliar creature. These first two lines, therefore establish a feeling of death and even a hint of anxiety on the speaker's behalf. At the same time, the reader might also find this scene pretty familiar who hasn't sat still and quiet to watch a bird hop around without scaring it away. The combination of neighbor lines and anxiety that these first two lines set up actually forms the foundation for the poem's entire, which features a feeling of tension even though the poem describes very simple everyday occurrence. The bird is a little like a human, but it's also so unlike a human that the sight of a real human might scare it away. This highlights the exact kind of tension and contradiction that the rest of the poem will explore. He bit an angel warm, line 3 to 4. He bit an angel warm in holes and ate the fellow raw. Line 5. And he drank dew from convenient grass. And then hopped sidewise to the wall to let a beetle pass. We'll go to line 9 to 12. He glanced with a rapid eyes. See his eyes? They are rapid. He glanced with his rapid eyes that hurried about all abroad. They looked like frightened, though thought out. He strived his velvet head. Then we go to line 13 to 14. Like one in danger, cautious, I offered him a crumb. See, these highlighted quotations, and it's better you can get highlighted these lines. Okay? Then let's go to 15 to 18. And he unrolled his feathers and allowed him softer home than ours divide the ocean to silver seam. Oh, but line 19, 20. Oh, butterflies of banks of noon leap flashless as they swim. Okay. We will talk about the symbol. A bird came down the walk. We will talk about the symbols. The bird is a symbol here. The bird in a bird came down with the walk. Essentially, it's the natural world itself. This is the because it is being that contains in itself both nature's cruelty and its sublime beauty. The bird, like all creatures, is both predator and prey. First, it mercilessly eats the worm, and then looks around anxiously with its eyes like frightened birds, trying to see if anything might be on the way to eat it. When it flies away, though, it gracefully lifts off and moves as firstly eats the worm, and then it looks around anxiously with its eyes like frightened birds, trying to see if anything might be on the way to eat it. When it flies away, though it gracefully lifts off and moves as thought it's at one with the air, moving so easily that it almost seemed to be swimming through water. This ease and grace suggests that it is fully united with the surrounding world, even if it remains fearful of its environment. The bird therefore represents the tension that exists in the natural world between beauty and danger. See where this symbol appears in the poem. Actually, we can check it. Now we will talking about the poetic devices and figurative language. We can see alliteration. I think all of you know what is called alliteration. It is very, very important. The alliteration in a bird came down the walk strongest toward the end of the poem. When the speaker marvelous at the bird's smooth, calm flights through the air. The speaker compares the bird's flight to oars dipping into the ocean in a way is too silver for a seam. And then goes on to suggest that butterflies off banks of noon leap matchless as they swim. This sequence of the alliterated S and B sound, sir and B sounds mirror the bird's movements, making the poem sound as balanced and harmonious as the bird's. This alliteration also ties in with the water-related images speaker uses here. Think of the way swimmer pulls with one arm and then the other, or the way oars work together to glide a boat forward. The balance of alliterative sounds in the poem mimics the balanced movements of the swimmers and rowboats they describe and support the mode of harmonious is at the poem's end. This balanced sound also creates contrast with the Edgar feelings of anxiety, caution, and danger in the first part of the poem. There are a couple of moments of alliteration earlier on too. For example, there is the heart of cautious and crumbed in lines 13 and 14, as well as the that of he due in line 5. In both cases, alliteration simply makes the speaker's language simply sound nice. Repeat sounds tend to please the ear, so the speaker's use of alliteration makes the poem sound satisfying and musical sounding that helps draw readers to the lines. Then there are some similes here, personifications here. Now you have to find them with your friends and colleagues. Then you can enjoy the literature. Okay, the bird came with down the vocabulary. When we talk about vocabulary here, it is also very simple form. When we talk about form, meter, rhyme, scheme of a bird came down walk. is very familiar, very simple language. You can see rhyming scheme also. A bird came the walk uses an old-fashioned rhyme scheme drawn from folk songs and ballads. The stanzas feature the A, B, B, C, B. Take the first 4 lines. A bird came down the walk. He did not know so. Did not know I saw. He an angel warm in house and ate the fellow raw. This establishes the rhyme scheme that appears throughout the entire poem. Sometimes, though there is a twist because the speaker uses slant rhyme. Example, take a look at the third stanza. He glanced with rapid eyes that hurried all abroad. They looked like frightened beads, thought. He striped his velvet head. The two B rhymes here, abroad and head, share some matching sounds, but they don't rhyme perfectly. This is textbook slant rhyme and one of Dickinson's favorite poetic tricks. A slant rhyme also occurs between the word abroad and thought, both of which feature the assonant sound. Other intentions slant rhyme appear in the fourth and fifth stanza, with crumb and home in the fourth stanza, and seam and swim in the fifth stanza. This gives the poem an offhand lifting sound, creating not a precise rhyme pattern, but one that still features words that feel subtly similar to each. This balance of similarity and difference reflects the speaker's attempt connection with the bird, even though similar to each other. The balance of similarity differences are reflect the speaker's attempt and connection with the bird, even though bird seems oddly human-like. The speaker still marvelous at the beautiful ways in which it is different from human beings. This is the way that they have reached their targeted language. Okay. Now we will turn to our third poet. He is Lord Tennyson. He's talking about the eagle. With the in brackets, you can see a fragment. Let's enjoy poetry now. It is a very small poetry. The eagle, a fragment. He claps the rag with crooked hands, close to the sun in lonely lands, ranged with the azure world he stands. The wrinkled sea beneath him crawls. He watches from his mountain walls, and like a thunderbolt he falls. By Alfred Lord Tennyson. When you enjoy the literature, you have an idea of the poetry. Then you have to have a good reading with you. Unless it is not a very enjoyable thing. See the theme also. Then see language here. And this is also a male writer. We talk about this writer. Even it is a very small poet, it is a very completable, completed poetry actually. When we talk about the eagle, the eagle by Alfred Lord Tennyson portrays the swiftness and agility of the kings of birds. The shortness of a poem is a reference to an eagle that is ready to latch onto its prey. It is like a monarch of nature, keeping a strategic distance from the metaphorical wrinkled sea crowding below. What is the message of the eagle by Alfred Lord Tennyson? The theme of Alfred Lord Tennyson's eagle is strength and nobility in and of the natural world. This is more noticeable in the author's use of personification and imagery throughout the poem. What is the meaning of the crag with crooked hands? The crag with crooked hands represents how the eagle or Catholic held on to what they once had. The supported of the government, close the sun in lonely lands, could represent how Catholics were made to be illegal and were alone at that time. This is the symbol. You can see some symbols. How does the poet describe eagle in the poem? It is also very important fact. The poet describes the eagle as peace-loving as it perched at a lonely and quiet place. The poet also tells that it falls like thunderbolt, which means it is very fast and energetic. What is the metaphor the eagle standard for? Metaphor that is to say that humans do not pick up a thing as a symbol emblem for something else without any reason. For example, we have chosen eagles and larvae or sea cucumbers as a symbol for power. It may be due to the conceptual metaphors. Power like that is very important fact here. What is the message conveyed through the poem Eagle and Moth? Summary of the Eagle and Moth. Here, it lives on a rock from the reeking herd of human society. She is presenting this image as a goal for her listener. One should seek peace through solitude and gain strength through independence. What does the eagle symbolize in the dying eagle? The eagle is a figure of self-creation and independence, a long to make its choices for itself. Power over oneself is one aspect of command, control, and power. The eagle is also described as being like a thunderbolt when he falls. Even poetry is very small, we have to have that means we have to get more ideas and more messages from it. Okay, we will go to the next poetry as well. It is written by William Blake. Gave you a small introduction here. We see. To the evening star. To the evening star. It is written by William Blake. Okay. He is also considered the romantic poet. For that, we'll go to the screen as well. Okay. Good Evening Star by William Blake. He's a romantic poet. He's very famous poet in the world as well. The poetic persona of the poem thinks star is a fair-haired angel who protects the nocturnal beauty of nature. When the sun sets behind the mountain, the star appears in the sky. According to the poet, the star lights the bright torch of love at that time. So the evening star is a symbol of love too. Before that, I think it's better to have a reading of that poetry. Take out the poetry with you and we will have an idea on that. Okay, okay, let's start the reading. To the evening star. To the evening star. Thou fair-haired angel of the evening, now whilst the sun sets rests on the mountains, thy bright torch of love, thy radiant crown, put on and smile upon our evening bed. Smile on our loves, and while thou drawest the blue curtains of the sky, scatter thy silver doe on every flower that shuts its sweet eyes in timely sleep. Let thy west wind sleep on. The lake speak silence with thy glimmering eyes, and wash the dusk with silver. Soon, full moon, dost thou withdraw, then the wolf rags wide. And then the lion glares through the dun forest. The fleeces of our flocks are covered with thy squared dough. Protect them with Teen Influence by William Blake. Okay, now we will turn to the appreciation of the poetry. We will have some summary on that, on about the poem. The Evening Star, an early poem by William Blake, first appeared in his 1783 collection, Poetical Sketches. In this short and deceptively simple poem, a speaker prays to the personified evening star, the planet Venus, for protection and guidance. While the star is in the sky, In this short and deceptively simple poem, a speaker prays to personified evening star, the planet Venus, protection and guidance. While the star is in the sky, the world is full of peace, calm, and love. But when she withdraws, lions and wolves roam free. Without heavenly light, the poem suggests the world becomes a dark and perilous. When we talk about the summary of the poet, oh, pale-haired angel of twilight, that the sun has sunk low enough to touch the mountains. This is the poetry that I read you to the Evening Star teams inner and diving protection. In to the Evening Star, the speaker calls on the diving to protect the world against all the perils of the dark, praying to the evening star, that is Venus, here personified as the love goddess, of whom that planet was named. The speaker asks her not just to beautify the twilight landscape, but to hold the night's prowling wolves at bay. By contrasting a sleep bedtime world of innocent love and silver dew with the dreadful glare of predators, the poem suggests that peace and happiness need diving protection from the world's darker, more dangerous forces. When the evening star appears in the heavens, the speaker feels she heralds a time of blissful peace and innocent pleasure. Her bright torch of love benevolently illuminates everyone's in bed, and she smiles on our love. Blessings, humanities, bedtime, snuggling. This celestial angel makes the whole world peaceful, calm, and happy. When the diving star fades from the sky, the world looks very different. No sooner has the goddess withdrawn, the speaker warns, then the wolf rages and the lion glares. That is the world's two their forces come out to play, threatening flocks. These predatory animals might symbolize humanity, less innocent impulse and appetites, representing instance beastly lust instead of scared love, or bloodthirstiness instead of peace. The difference between a world of wholly peaceful love and a world of animalistic bloodshed is the presence of a scared light. The speaker's prayer that the evening star will the world suggests that without diving guidance, the walls and lines of greed, cruelty, and lust might well run wild. The beauty and danger of nature. In To the evening star, the natural world is as lovely and gentle as it is perilous and wide. As the night falls, the poem speakers addresses the evening star, that is, the planet Venus, the first star to appear in the night sky at dusk as a gentle protective goddess, putting the world to bed. When she leaves the sky, though, ravenous animals prowl the landscape and menace the lively livestock. Nature in this poem is at once beautiful and threatening, but either way, it's full of wonder. The sight of the evening star fills with poems, speaker with love, gratitude, and a way, addressing the star as a kind of goodness. The speaker prays that he will bring the day to safe flows, drawing the blue curtains of the sky as she were trucking the world into bed, wash the dusk with silver, casting soft light into the darkness. The speaker's wonder-struck description of the landscape, gently touched by starlight, suggests that the natural world can be so beautiful that it feels actively loving and benevolent. However, nature also presents its dangers in the poem. When the evening star finishes her gentle bedtime rituals and fades from the sky, the speaker warns wild animals go on the prowl. The wolf rests and the lion glares. All those roaming carnivores threaten the speaker's flock of sheep, endangering the very creatures whose place was only moments ago beautified by the scared door. The stars scattered over the landscape. The nature isn't just place of sparkling light and gentle benevolence, then it is also full of blood and guts. Praying to nature kindly prays for protection from its bitter one. And then the speaker suggests that the natural world is both beautiful and dangerous, and that either way it has a mysterious power that goes far beyond human limits. Line 1 to 5. Please check with your poetry. Though fair-haired angel of evening, now while the sun rests on the mountain's light, thy bright torch of love, thy radiant crown, put on and smile upon the evening bed, smile on our love. to the evening star begins with rapturous apostrophe and a personified star-turned goodness as the sun rests on the mountains and the day comes to end. The speaker begs the fair-haired angel of the evening to light her bright torch of love. Don her radiant crown and offer a blessing to everyone getting ready to their evening bed. The speaker's metaphors of torch and crown paint a picture both of real stars glinting though and goddess decked out in her queen regalia. If this is the evening star, another name for the planet Venus, the first star to appear in the sunset sky, then perhaps this angel has something in common with Venus herself, Roman goddess of love, beauty, and sex. In a moment of reverent anaphora, the speaker provides another hint that this goddess might preside over shared love. Speaker's prayer, this angel will smile on both beds, and love suggests that she offers a blessing to lovers in particular. In these first lines, then the poem paints a picture of a world making gentle way towards sex and sleep. The evening star hangs over it all, a protective, regal force who smiles on everything that happens beneath her. These images of peace and balance, though are little at odds with the poem's. At first glance, readers might expect this poem to be sonnet. It's 14 lines long and seems to be written in iambic pentameter. Then point number 2, but there's no sonnet rhyme scheme here. Even more disoriently what seems at first to be blank verse will soon veer of course into all sorts of unexpected rhymes. As we will soon see, this tension between order and unpredictability will burn up in the poem's world, not just its form. Actually, these are very important facts for learning poetry. Now, actually, they are really important fact. I think this is very good facts. And there are some very good facts here. And this is the time for discussion. If you have any if you have something to discuss, you can have the time. I think all the topics were discussed here. Now you have to enjoy this poetry. When we learn poetry, we have to enjoy with ourselves. And that is the only thing. Nothing. Think you have to enjoy the literature, not only with the poetry, but also with the other text as well. Read more and learn more, get more experiences. When you take only one poet, you have to. It's better if you have to read a lot of poetry of that person. Then you can have a very good idea on the poet as well as poetry as well. It is very, very important fact. I think you may have get something from me. Please enjoy with your literature activities. I think this is the time to end my poetry. Then it's better to turn to Nana Power Foundation. I think it is very important. This is the very good time to finish my lesson. Thank you very much for your cooperation as well. Okay, this is the time to Nana Power Foundation to forward your session. මම හිතනවා Nana Power ආයතනයට මේවට යොමු වෙන්න මම බලාපොරොත්තු වෙනවා. මගේ පාඩම මෙතකින් අවසానයි.
බොහොමත්ම ස්තුතියි මැඩම් අපිත් එක්ක අදත් සම්බන්ධ වුණාට මේ වෙලාවේ කියන්න ඕනේ අද දින සම්බන්ධ වෙන්න බැරි වෙච්ච ඔයාලට පුළුවන් Nana Power YouTube channel එකෙන් අද දේශනය වගේම අපේ මානල් මැඩම් එකතු වෙලා අපිත් එක්ක කරලා තියෙන කලින් දේශනය කියන්නේ ඉංග්‍රීසි ලිටරචර් කරලා තියෙන ඒ වගේම ඉංග්‍රීසි දේශන කරලා තියෙන ඒ හැම දෙයක්ම ඔයගලන්ට Nana Power YouTube channel එකෙන් බලන්න පුළුවන්. මොකද අපි මේ හැම දෙයක්ම ලංකාවේ ඉන්න සිසුන් වෙනුවෙන් සම්පූර්ණයෙන් නොමිලේ සිදු කරන නිසා. ඉතින් මතක් කරලා channel එක subscribe කරන්න, bell icon එකත් click කරන්න. නැවත වතාවක් අපේ මානල් සොයිසා මැඩම්ට බොහොමත්ම ස්තුතියි ආරාධනා කරනවා දිගටම Nana Power එකත් එක්ක එකතු වෙලා ඉන්න කියලා. අයබෝන්.
වාණිජ විද්‍යා ගණිත කලා තාක්ෂණ වේදය විෂය ධාරාවන් වල සියලුම විෂයන් සඳහා විශ්වවිද්‍යාල කතිකාචාර්යවරුන් සහ රජයේ පාසල්වල ප්‍රවීණ ආචාර්ය මණ්ඩලය විසින් මෙහෙයවනු ලබන දේශන Nana Power YouTube channel ඔස්සේ නැරඹිය හැක. ඉදිරි දේශන දැන ගැනීම සඳහා Nana Power YouTube channel subscribe කරන්න. දැයි දූ දරුවන්ගේ අනාගත ජයග්‍රහණයට